Today is September 29th, 2022. Welcome to Simply Bitcoin Live, once again streaming from the legendary Bitcoin Park in Nashville, Tennessee, from the 1031 offices. I got a new member of Simply Bitcoin with us today. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing good. I'm Paul, better known as Birds Are Not Real too. I'm a frequent bird critic, and I'm just happy to be here talking about
Did
Bitcoin.
you just say birds are not real?
Birds are not real now. See, birds are
What did I do?
drones that recharge on telephone lines.
We're going to talk more about that. Anyways, we are your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover the breaking news, culture, and mimetic warfare. We will show you why only Bitcoin can give you true financial sovereignty. We're definitely going to get more into that bird topic. Sounds fascinating. Anyways, today, guys, we're going to make the case as to why self-custody is becoming mainstream. And the way it's happening is actually really interesting. And of course, we're going to cover more about the debacle, which I covered a lot tremendously on yesterday's show with Lawrence Lepard. Definitely go check out that podcast. It was killer. We're going to talk a little bit about the Bank of England turning on the money printers again and how they try to obfuscate what they're doing with this over financialization of the language, right? It's like they try to overcomplicate it so that the average Joe doesn't understand. We're going to try to simplify it for you as best as we can. After all, we are simply Bitcoin. But anyways, I want to say a special hello to my awesome co-host, always optimistic. How you doing, Opti?
What's up, Nico? What's up, Paul? I'm hyped for this one, man. I'm a huge fan of Paul. He's a really good dude, and I'm glad that he's on the team with us. But yes, I'm excited to hear what Nico Jones got in store for us, and I am going to continue to double down on what we talked about yesterday with CK, and talk about just how early we really are in Bitcoin. So I'm gonna, I'm not gonna make the same case that CK is doing. I am gonna bring some tweets and some pretty charts, and I know you guys love the visuals, so I am giving you guys what you like to hear. But I'm excited for this one, man. Nico, it's been a long week again, and yesterday's episode with Lawrence was absolute fire. I actually truly learned a lot and was sitting there like, man, it feels so good to have someone with experience that thinks the same way that I do.
Yeah, man. Lawrence is super based. He's been fighting the good fight for sound money for so long. It's been absolutely crazy. In the last 2 weeks alone, I've recorded in Puerto Rico, Miami, now in Nashville from Bitcoin Park and Bitcoin Magazine headquarters. And next week we'll be recording live, me and Opti, Thursday and Friday of next week from the mining conference in Austin, Texas. We're gonna have the Simply Bitcoin booth. We're gonna try to get you some awesome interviews from some very well known people in the mining industry. Should be awesome. But anyways, let's start the show. Number time. Brought to you by NODL. At this point, you should be running your own Bitcoin node. If you don't use your own Bitcoin node, you're trusting someone else's. Run your own version of Bitcoin Core, the Lightning Network, Whirlpool, and Dojo, all from the comfort of your own home. And if you're a digital nomad, you have absolutely no excuse because now you can run a NODL through a virtual private server. Visit nodl.eu today. Guys, at the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is 19,210. Stop right now. Stop the show. Press pause. Stack some sats. Go on Swan Bitcoin right now. Sats per dollar, 5,206. Block height, 756,233. Reachable Bitcoin nodes, 14,625. Blocks to the halvening, 83,767. Halving estimate, April 23rd, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity, 4,895. Capacity value, 94 million US dollars. Realized monetary inflation, taking the US dollar to absolute school, 1.78%. And the Bitcoin market capitalization, it's still a little baby, $368 billion. Anyways, guys, I want to react to a video today. It was by Stan Druckenmiller. He's a billionaire, and he was talking to the host of Squawk Box, and his name is Joe Kernan. And they said some really interesting things in this video. Let's check out what they had to say, then we'll react to it. I suspect you guys, it won't sit easy with you guys either. Let's check it out.
There was a time you went to college campuses and you talked about an equity and debt. I think in this case it wasn't necessarily Fed-induced, but it was entitlement-induced. Yeah. And it could come, this was 10 years ago, and I think you said sometime between, Nostradamus. You said 2020 and 2035.
Yeah.
So it's is it 2022? Is it happening?
We are in deep trouble. So everything I said at those colleges is worse in terms of the metrics, except for one thing. And what I miscalculated was I didn't calculate zero rates, I used 4% rates. But the only thing Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton agreed on in 2016 was don't cut Social Security, don't cut entitlements. So nothing was done. Joe Biden has excoriated Rick Scott because he dared mention maybe we shouldn't be increasing senior pays. But if you look at the reversal I just talked about, and you use the CBO estimate, which is rates at 3.8%, which I think, frankly, is pretty optimistic, given all the things we've talked about. By 2027, the interest expense alone on the debt eats all healthcare spending. By 2047, it eats all discretionary spending. So we're now getting into fiscal dominance. By the way, by 49, it eats all Social Security. We're getting to the point now where the interest expense on the debt is so high that it's going to eat up our ability to basically service the next generation. I'm not even sure about the current one.
Okay.
I brought some cyanide if you'd like one.
No, I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking maybe we'll be okay, but
yeah, because we'll be dead.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You hear that last part? Did you hear that last part? They printed too much money. They did all this deficit spending to give these entitlement programs, whether it's healthcare, welfare, etc., money we did not have. They kicked the can down the road, and now our generation is stuck holding the bags. And you heard him at the end. Do you want a cyanide pill? He's like, not really, dude. We'll be dead anyways. This isn't our problem. And now it falls onto us. This is insane. They sold out our future to benefit themselves. That's what the money printer did. That's what this deficit spending did. Did you guys know that the U.S. government, put all the propaganda aside, tax the rich, all this, blah, blah, blah. The U.S. government collects more tax revenue year after year, but they still spend roughly $1 trillion more than they collect in tax revenue alone. The government doesn't have a tax collecting problem. It has a spending problem. And what do? They distract us with the fiat politics. You heard it himself. Donald Trump nor Hillary Clinton wanted to take out this entitlement programs. It would be political suicide for them to do that. They promised people all these things that we couldn't afford, that the money printer made feasible. But the entire time, the money has made the rich richer and the poor poorer. If you are under the age of 35, you're nothing more than a Russian serf. You can't own anything. And who did that? And why did they do that? To benefit themselves in the short term. And why did the politicians agree to this? Because it's very easy to buy votes, isn't it? Free healthcare, free this, free that. How are we going to pay it? Doesn't matter. Money printer. Guys, if this isn't if that video in itself wasn't enough of a reason, wasn't enough of an advertisement, opt out of the scam system that they're trying to sell us, and opt out into Bitcoin, I don't know what else will. Anyways, Paul, did that infuriate you the way it infuriated me?
Yeah, it absolutely did. And I'm thinking about this. One of the things I was told when I came to my tax law 101 class, first year of law school, was the great myth is that the tax code is designed to generate revenue for the government. It simply isn't. If it was designed to generate revenue for the government, it would be a one-page rate sheet. It wouldn't be 7,000 pages of regulations, rules, case law, and advisory opinions. The tax is designed to disincentivize or incentivize behavior. And the reason it's no longer primarily for revenue generation is because the government can print the money it needs. Now, if you've ever read The Deficit Myth by Stephanie Kelton, or if you haven't read it, I'd suggest reading it, but maybe don't buy it because she's a little bit out there. Her conclusions at the end are a little wacko, but her argument is basically twofold. Government can print all the money it needs to fund liabilities and will, and we should be printing all that money to fund liabilities. Last part is absolutely bogus, but I definitely agree with the first part. And the way it's snowballing, they don't have any option.
Nope.
But to print.
They don't have another option but to print, but the outcome of this is going to be catastrophic.
Mhm.
And Lawrence Lepard made the case yesterday, a monetary reset. The difference, though, guys, and this is why we're such advocates of Bitcoin, is that now you have a chance to opt out while we're witnessing the system collapse upon itself. The sovereign individual predicted this. They predicted it word for word. The downfall of nation states and the welfare state is that they're not going to have enough tax revenue in order to fund themselves. Now it's starting to consume itself. Look at what happened in the last 6 months. They passed a bill called the Inflation Reduction Act. They didn't stop printing money in the Inflation Reduction Act. You know what they did? They they introduced something that would hire 87,000 IRS agents to extract even more tax revenue from the populace in order to fund all the spending. This is where we are in the movie, and it's going to get nastier. And this all came from one thing alone, because no one should have the power to create money for free that someone else has to work for. But anyways, Opti, let's get to the news, brother. We went a little long on that one.
The Daily News.
Brought to you by CryptoCloaks.com. They make the best 3D printed Bitcoin merch in the game. From custom node cases to key rings to the famous 3D printed Bitcoin grenade toy. Comes in any custom color your heart desires. You want it in gold, they make it in gold, but only on CryptoCloaks.com. All right, guys, so kind of going back to what happened yesterday, right, with the Bank of England launches $65 billion move to calm the markets, meaning they printed money. Now, what is the significance of this? I'll get to in a second. The Bank of England took emergency action on Wednesday to avoid a meltdown in the UK pension sector, unleashing a $65 billion bond buying program to stem crisis in UK government debt markets. Economists warn the injections of billions of pounds of newly minted money into the economy could fuel inflation. This move will be inflationary at a time of already high inflation. Guys, they're printing money when the UK's current inflation rate is at 10%. And this is why it went to Druckenmiller. We saw a video of him, and this is what he said. He said the prevailing macroeconomic factors dominated by soaring inflation have impacted equities and the crypto market, with both sectors recording high historical crashes. Notably, amid the conditions, the role of central banks in containing inflation has been questioned as investors look for assets to cushion them. Consequently, billionaire Stanley Druckenmiller has suggested that if the masses lose trust in central banks due to tightening policies, cryptocurrencies might rally once again. The inventor cited the recent decision by the Bank of England to pause its tightening policy to start purchasing government bonds. He noted that crypto might be the go-to asset if other banks follow. Now, this part, right, about how specifically the younger generations that have already been screwed start to lose confidence in central banking, that's exactly what Christine Lagarde was making the case for. That's exactly what the White House report was making the case for last week, that, hey, we're starting to lose confidence, but you still have to trust us. How could you trust them if 6 months ago, this is what they were saying?
An inflation profile, which looks like a hump. So it has clearly increased over the last 3 quarters. And we know how painful it is. We know that, life is more expensive as a result, particularly for those people who have low income and who are more exposed to prices rising, particularly when, you fill up the tank. But we see it as a hump, and a hump eventually declines. And this is what we project for 22, that inflation will decline over the course of 22.
They lied. They lied to your face. And now they're screaming and they're squirming in their seats, saying, why won't you trust us? Central banks must be the epicenter, must be the anchor, to use their own language, of the economy. That's why we don't trust you guys, because you continuously lied. You sold our future to benefit yourselves in the short term. And now we have an alternative that you can't debase or confiscate easily on a mass scale. Suck on that. Opti, what are your thoughts, brother?
Well, I think, first off, the Druckenmiller quote is something that we've been saying for a while. Like, you can't stop the signal. And I did the culture segment, I think it was on Monday or Tuesday, about how money is a trust game. And it's becoming very obvious that not just Bitcoiners, but, the average person is starting to feel the pain, and they're starting to lose trust in these institutions. And once that final capitulation happens on fiat money and people fully stop trusting these institutions, central bankers and the like, to, quote unquote, guide the economy in the right direction, then we are going to see a crazy gradually then suddenly moment. And furthermore, in light of what we were hearing yesterday with that interview that you did, Nico, with Lawrence, the situation is bad, like real bad. And personally, I'm just glad that I'm a Bitcoiner. I'm glad I have the escape hatch. I'm glad I found the exit door, because, seeing like Greg Foss and James Lavich and Dr. Jeff Ross on Twitter ringing the bells of how crazy a time we are living in, it's almost surreal that this is where we are in the movie, and that it's actually happening, it's happening meme right now. But we just got to remember, money is a game of trust, and we've opted out of that game, and the trust in these institutions are failing right now. So, they turned on the money printer again. They are continuing to steal your wealth, and now they're, pissing on your head again and telling you, oh, it's going to go down. It's going to go down. But as, smarter people than I are saying on Twitter, it seems like we are going to go into a decade of double-digit inflation, and it's just something that we're going to have to deal with. So, it's absolutely atrocious that these boomers and these central bankers have stolen our future and now telling us to deal with it and laughing and joking about it. And it's just like, man, the kickback is going to be hard, and I wouldn't want to be in fiat, and I'm glad that I'm all in on Bitcoin. And it's just crazy just to see that Bitcoin is the most stable currency right now. Bitcoin is retaining its value the best in a world full of IOU paper Ponzi money. And it's like Bitcoin was designed for this very moment, and it's being tried and tested, and the thesis is coming out true. So it just feels good. Bitcoiners just stay winning, and Bitcoiners are right once again. So
Stay winning.
It's awesome.
I'm glad you said that, because I put winning in the thumbnail today. Anyways, guys, I want to address what I was making the case for in the title and the thumbnail. Bitcoin self-custody is going mainstream. Let me make the argument as to why. Let me make the argument as to why Bitcoin companies are doing certain things that's going to make self-custody easy and without adding a level of complexity to the user. Now, there are downsides to it, and we're going to talk about that. But first, let me make this case for you. This is Casa. Casa is an app, and what it does is it makes multi-sig very easy. What is multi-sig for anyone that doesn't know? Usually, when you take Bitcoin into self-custody, in order to spend that Bitcoin, you sign with the Signal signature, right? Multi-sig, what it does is whether if it's a 2 or 3 or 3 of 5, it requires multiple signatures in order to spend certain Bitcoin, right? And what does that enable? That enables more security because you could geographically separate your seeds in different locations. And for someone to, let's say, a $5 wrench attack, they show up at your the house, they say, "Give me your key." You're so like, "Listen, I have one, but I don't have another. And even if I wanted to, I couldn't give you this Bitcoin." So this is multi-sig is basically another way to protect your Bitcoin. It moves the balance of power from the attacker, from the state, and it moves it to the individual. It gives the individual more tools to secure his wealth properly. So that's what multi-sig is. Casa is one of those companies. Now, what Casa did about 2 years ago is that now you could buy Casa directly from the app, right? So think about it. You buy Bitcoin and it goes directly into a multi-sig wallet, right? And compare and contrast this with how it works today with exchanges. You buy Bitcoin on Coinbase, and what a lot of people do is, you know what they do? They leave that Bitcoin on Coinbase, right? And remember, self-custody is the revolution, but it isn't only Casa. It's also Unchained Capital. Unchained Capital is known for two things. Also multi-sig, very similar to what Casa does, but they went down the web UI route. They don't have an app that I'm aware of. They also offer Bitcoin-backed loans, but recently they also offered, you know what? Purchase Bitcoin directly to a multi-sig vault you control. That's right. You could buy Bitcoin and it goes straight into self-custody, very similar to what Casa did. But guys, it's not only Unchained Capital, it's not only Casa doing that. Swan is heading in that direction. I will make the case as to why I believe that's the case. Swan acquires Spector Solutions. We are extremely excited to announce, this is Corey making the announcement. We are extremely excited to announce our acquisition of Spector Solutions, a leader in self-custody solutions for Bitcoiners. Today, along the Spector Solutions team, we are launching Spector Labs, a division of Swan that expands our alignment with Bitcoin principles by focusing on open source and privacy-oriented tools that help Bitcoiners secure their holdings in the best way possible. It's a lot of signal right there. Why is Swan acquiring something that's going to facilitate, you heard it themselves, Bitcoin secure their holdings in the best way possible? Self-custody. Do the best thing for Bitcoin and Bitcoiners has always been Swan's guiding principle. Our mission is to convert the next 10 million Bitcoiners and walk them on their journey to freedom, prosperity, keyword here, self-sovereignty. How do you take self-sovereignty? What we always advocate for, take self-custody. The launch of Spector Labs will give Swan customers end-to-end services on their Bitcoin journey from complete beginner to self-sovereign Bitcoiner by providing deep integrations with Spector's leading self-custody solution and other tools over time. Now, I know a lot of Bitcoiners are going to be like, bro, that's not good. Maybe they KYC it. He addresses that as well. He goes on to say, it is important to us that the Spector project remains open source, so we are establishing clear guidelines, principles. Swan will provide engineering support and some product direction. Spector's open source desktop project does not and will not have any default network connection to Swan or customer identification features, also known as KYC. Spector does not and will not track users in any way unless they opt into features that are clearly labeled integrations. So this is incredibly bullish, guys. And there are some downsides, and I'll get to those in a second. But why is this bullish? Because at the end of the day, look, people want convenience. Okay. And that's the brutal fact. Okay. And it's very inconvenient. And I've gone through this many times for you to buy. And I'm used to using the shitcoin exchange as an example because that's like what everyone onboards themselves through. Coinbase. They buy it on Coinbase, and Coinbase doesn't tell you, hey, take self custody. What these 3 Bitcoin companies are doing, Casa, Unchained, and Swan, is that they're making the transition from buying Bitcoin into taking Bitcoin into self custody seamless, so that even for the user, the convenience is there. The convenience of just buying Bitcoin, whatever, the convenience for self custody is there without going through multiple hurdles. If more and more people do this, that's how we win the revolution. And this is incredibly bullish to me. I love that Bitcoin companies are heading in this direction. And now you can no longer say it's a pattern. Now it's 3 Bitcoin companies that have all realized, let's allow people to buy Bitcoin and then take that Bitcoin directly into a self-custody wallet of which only they control. Now, what are the downsides? The downsides is obviously you're buying Bitcoin and you're sending it to a self-custody wallet of which the exchange knows you own, right? So in a way, it could potentially create a honeypot. It could potentially become a place where, let's say, a very hostile government, right, says, hey, where's everyone holding their Bitcoin? Now we know where to go. Now we know what door to knock on. But here's the thing, guys. Unlike the 6102 order, where FDR released an executive order confiscating gold, the big difference here, though, is that when that order was released, most people were taking custody of their gold in banks. So it was very easy for governments to confiscate that. Now try doing that to millions and millions of people all around the world, taking their Bitcoin and taking it into self-custody, specifically the United States. The United States is the most armed nation in the world. And I'm not talking about the military. I'm talking about the actual American citizens and American individuals, right? So yes, could be a honeypot. That's one of the downsides. But at the same time, you still have to come and take it, right? You still have to. Do you see the U.S. government, a mass scale confiscation showing door to door saying, hey, give me your Bitcoin? Like, that's a difficult ask for them, man, because that's literally wealth confiscation. And that's very different than what happened in the 6102 order. The 6102 order, all they did was, hey, a couple of banks that were holding people's gold, they said, hey, this is now my gold. But if there's millions upon millions upon millions, there in Corey's blog post thing, it said 10 million. You think 10 million individuals holding their own keys? You think the government has the resources to go out and try to take the keys of all of those people? And what happens when the first 1,000 people get attacked? What do you think they're going to tell the other 1,000 people? That is a recipe. That's going to be it's going to be a very hard sell politically, and it's going to be very difficult for them to do on a logistical level as well, right? But it wouldn't be simply Bitcoin if I didn't point out the pros and the cons, because there's always trade-offs. Anyways, but this is very bullish. This is a victory for self-custody, man. I'm extremely bullish about this, and I hope other companies go down this route where they incentivize more self-custody and they make the transition to self-custody a lot easier. Anyways, Paul, I want to get your thoughts and then we'll move on to Opti.
Yeah. So 2 things on that. I like that you showed 3 different companies, 3 different solutions that were at different levels. So starting an Unchained Capital Vault, even without paying any money to them, a relatively simple multi-sig is pretty easy. Spector is a little more advanced. So there are really, as the Bitcoin world expands, the solutions out there are becoming more diverse so that everyone can get into things like multi-sig. The second thing is we talk a lot about the reasons why you want to self-custody, and there's one that gets overlooked a lot, and there's a lot of paper Bitcoin out there. This isn't unique to Bitcoin. I mean, there's tons of paper gold certificates out there that aren't really backed by gold. They're basically running a fractional reserve bank for Bitcoin, because they know not everyone's going to take it out of their exchange at the same time. They don't have to keep full reserves. This manipulates the price of Bitcoin, so we're not seeing it as it actually is in the market. And this helps them keep the price low so that people in traditional finance can continue to stack their bags. Yeah. So I personally don't want exchanges to be able to use my Bitcoin IOU to manipulate the price.
Exactly. And how do we do that? People taking control of their keys, control of their Bitcoin. So I'm good. I think this is a positive direction. And I think that this could be a viable solution to the self-custody problem by also taking human nature into account. Because what I've learned, right, what we all want, right, the utopian idea is, man, everyone is going to just learn, buy their Bitcoin, earn their Bitcoin, take it onto an exchange. The reality that I've learned over the last 5 years is that, dude, look, my mom holds Bitcoin, but if I ask her, Mom, send me that Bitcoin, she has no idea. She's taking self-custody. She has it. Hi, Mom. But she still has no idea how to actually use it.
That's a good forced hodl there, isn't
so
it?
It's great. I know but yeah, man, it's I'm glad that they're facilitating, incentivizing self-custody while also making it easier. My legendary co-host, Optimistic. This is very optimistic, Opti.
Yeah, first and foremost, shouts out to the Bitcoin moms. Same. But we've had the conversation off air where, these Bitcoin only companies that are having the all-in-one solutions like this is how they're going to win and how you win right now. And so, I've been pushing it's kind of a bad meme because everyone hates on Apple, but I've been pushing on, we got to Applefy these products out here so that people are forced into the good behaviors without having to think about this, because we all know, there is a trade-off with convenience and privacy, and most people are going to just choose being convenient offer. Like, not all the average person is not like all us Bitcoiners out here that are just staunchly militant about being and using the best Bitcoin practices. But we say it all the time. Self-custody is the revolution, and making it easier for the average person to take self-custody and not have to jump through the hoops is beneficial for adoption. And this is how we win. Like Paul just said, there is a lot of paper Bitcoin out there, and this is why we tell you guys all the time to take Bitcoin into self-custody and defund these people that are trying to build the fiat system back on, the blockchain. So any more solutions out there to get people to take their private keys, I think is beneficial and optimistic for what's going on in the future, because this is how we win, guys. Taking back our money, taking back our currency, and putting our Bitcoin in self-custody is how you win. This is how we defund them rats over there at the central bank, because if they fractional reserve our Bitcoin, then we're just recreating the same system. So this is why we go hard so much every single day about taking your Bitcoin into self-custody, doing the best practices, using a node, because once you have it in self-custody and you're verifying your Bitcoin, then all this stuff, in my opinion, is not much of a concern. But we are still in the early stages of this, and people don't know best practices yet. So if we have companies out here that are pushing best practices up front, it's only going to help all of us in the end. So shouts out to Swan and furthermore Spector. It's awesome to see this open source project turn into something that seems to be huge. It's going to be a big thing now. I think this is where more Bitcoin only companies need to go. So this is what we're here for, just to continue to push self-custody and make sure that people are taking the private keys and holding their Bitcoin. And so if we can do whatever we can to make sure our mothers can hold that Bitcoin easier, this is how we win, guys. This is how we get to the normie land.
100%. Amen to that. All right, Opti, it's time for the culture.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today. All right, guys, I want to give a special shout out to the largest Bitcoin conference on the West Coast, November 10th through the 11th in Los Angeles, California. Pacific Bitcoin. Speaker list includes Michael Saylor, Lynn Alden, Corey Clipson, Jeff Booth, Dylan Leclerc, Pierre Richard, Robert Breedlove, Mark Moss, Guy Swan, Parker Lewis, Dr. Jeff Ross, Nico and Opti, Greg Foss. We're going to be doing a live Simply Bitcoin show from the conference. You're not going to want to miss it. You could take advantage of the promo code SIMPLY to get 20% off your tickets to Pacific Bitcoin. Don't miss it, guys. It's going to be huge celebration. Basketball courts, the Swan Dome. It's going to be great. They rented out a freaking aircraft hangar. It's going to be awesome. Check it out.
Let's go. All right, guys. So I hope you guys watched yesterday's episode with CK because it was absolutely bullish. And I'm going to kind of double down on this because we dropped this article. It says September 26th. I don't even know what day that is. I think that was Monday. And we're so damn early. And as you can see, my little thumbnail, it's a sun rising and a little Pepe in here. And I've been saying it on the show for a minute. Just like look around you. It is so damn early. Like Bitcoin is at the grassroots level of interest, understanding, and adoption. And if you just go outside and talk to people, ask them if they're Bitcoiners. Most people still think Bitcoin is a scam or a Ponzi, or, they may have dabbled in some shit coins. And so, like there may be people that own Bitcoin, but there's hardly very many Bitcoiners out there. And by Bitcoiners, I mean what we tell you guys every single day: to take your Bitcoin into self-custody, to run a node, verify your transactions against that Bitcoin, provide the value, and go live your life. But let's jump into this. So, as we've been covering the last couple of days, the Bank of England seems to be on its third bailout for banks. So remember what's in the Genesis block, guys. As MVK says, we are so close again. Chancellor on the brink of second bailout for banks, guys. This was literally in the Genesis block code. This is why we are Bitcoiners. This is why Bitcoin got created. And I bring all that up because it seems like Bitcoin was destined for this moment. It was created for this very moment, and it's thriving currently. But people still don't understand what Bitcoin is. And furthermore, I put this tweet up, I think it was last week or earlier this week, and I'm going to continue to jump on this meme right here that of Jan. It's like Bitcoin doesn't have bear markets, much like the internet doesn't have dips in adoption. Adoption is one way. Adoption only goes in one direction. As fundamental value grows, it grows with adoption. Guys, the fact that we are spreading Bitcoin every day, the fact that there's no new Bitcoiners out there, the fact that our stars are rising out there and more people are waking up to the idea that Bitcoin is the only solution, there is no alternative, and it is the escape door. Remember what Stanley Druckenmiller just said. He's a billionaire investor, and he is spreading the signal. Like I say almost every single day, you can't stop the signal. As much as they try to stop the signal and dunk on Bitcoiners, the signal still gets out there. And shouts out to you guys still having your laser eyes. You guys are still bullish. We see you guys that don't have your laser eyes. Nico, I see you, bro. I see you. Anyways, I am doubling down on the idea of CK saying it. Most people aren't bullish enough on Bitcoin, and it shows. Remember, everyone needs money, and there's 7.9 billion of us, guys. And as most metrics show, I think we're at maybe like 2% of the total population being, Bitcoiners or being Bitcoin adjacent. So there's so much room to grow in Bitcoin land. And furthermore, I got corrected the other day by Jedi and UTXO1. I said there's only like 1,000 Bitcoiners on Twitter. I was being hyperbolic. Anyways, he did this crawler, and at first it said 35K, and he's updated it. So there's about 41,000 Bitcoiners on Twitter right now that are talking about Bitcoin. And I jokingly said, half of them, if not more than half, are alt accounts. But hey, that's neither here nor there. If we take this metric on, its face value, we are still so early, guys. Like, it is absolutely incredible that people are bearish out there. Yeah, I know the price is barely above all-time high right now, but we tell you guys all the time, the price doesn't even matter at this point because everything divided by 21 million, if Bitcoin works, It's going to go up. Number goes up, and people will start adopting Bitcoin. And furthermore, I like this metric right here because I told you guys, I know you guys like charts. I know you guys like visuals. So shouts out to Documenting Bitcoin because we tell you all the time, zoom out. Now look at this visual. As Bitcoin gets adopted more, the price starts going exponential. As the price goes exponential, it's a feedback loop, and more people want to buy Bitcoin. And yo, there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin in a world of an everything paper Ponzi. It is going to continue to go up. Bitcoin is on target. And if you don't believe me, again, it's going up forever. Keep zooming out, and the price right now will look like a little blip in the future. But if you don't believe me, check it. Again, we don't like to speculate on simply Bitcoin. We don't like to, give you guys the hopium. But if you just track the last halving cycle with this halving cycle and previous halving cycles, we are right on track, and Bitcoin looks like it's going to start exploding soon going into the next halving. And this is what we tell you guys right now. You got to continue to stay humble, continue to provide the value, continue to stack sats, because we're right on target, guys. Say what you want about, models not working out, and models don't work, but some of them are useful. But again, you got to imagine everything there is and everything that will ever be divided by 21 million. Go back to the Knut von Home video we did last week. I think I put it in the show notes for you guys. And remember why we stay absolutely bullish here, because the world needs Bitcoin more than ever, and it's becoming more obvious to me every single day. And as Svetsky put here, think about it as follow. Money is the biggest market. It represents everything. Bitcoin is perfect money. On a long enough time scale, everyone will use it, and Bitcoin will represent not only everything there is, but everything that there ever will be. As we told you guys yesterday, if Bitcoin works, rather when Bitcoin works, infinity will get bigger. The economy will get better. We will get more innovative, and we will stop allocating resources badly. We will stop wasting the resources. We will stop burning capital. We will stop stealing from our future and build for the future on a solid foundation, which means we will have more abundance in the future. And furthermore, as we all understand, this feedback loop that is Bitcoin, it goes one way. The adoption cycle is only up. And as we all understand, I came for number go up, but I stayed for freedom go up. Bitcoin is a Trojan horse for freedom. And I am fully convinced that as more people come into the fray, they will start to understand the principles of Bitcoin, and they will start to understand that Bitcoin isn't just about making fiat gains. It's about a monetary revolution and taking back your freedom. And yes, again, I'm going to steal another Svetsky meme. I came for the money, but I stayed to fix the money. And this is how it works. Bitcoin domesticates your greed, and you come in for the gains, but then you realize, like, oh my goodness, once you go down the rabbit hole, this is way bigger than I could have ever imagined, and Bitcoin is perfectly designed for this moment right now. It's almost as if Bitcoin is working perfectly. And as Parman says, there's no such thing as a bearish Bitcoiner, guys. I don't know how you guys could stay bearish out there. Bitcoin is winning so hard, in my opinion. And it's more proof every single day that they can't stop the signal. You can't stop Bitcoin. We just had Senator Lummis say this very thing yesterday, like Bitcoin is unstoppable. And, Bitcoin incentives are winning. So if you're bearish right now on the price, you got to understand one thing. Zoom out. The price is irrelevant. Everything divided by 21 million. Make sure you're stacking your Bitcoin. Make sure you're putting your Bitcoin into cold storage. Make sure you're using your node to verify your transaction. And all this other stuff is moot. None of this stuff matter if you're just holding your Bitcoin for the long term. As CK said yesterday, the sats you have today are going to be worth an incredible amount of value in the future. All you have to do is get your meat sack over the finish line and survive. This is what we continue to tell you guys. This is why I went so hard on the meme a couple weeks ago about, like, look, guys, you can log out, save your Bitcoin, and come back, and we will be here for you guys. Bitcoin will be here for you when you need it. And this is the beauty of it. Provide the value and save in a money that isn't robbing you. It's really this simple, guys, and more people are waking up to this signal, and they just can't stop it. The truth will prevail, and it's bubbling up to the surface every single day in legacy media. And it's just beautiful to watch on the front lines. Like, you guys are the frontline soldiers. It is upon you to spread the signal. It's upon you to tell the people what the good tools are and what the best strategy is to survive this, because the world needs Bitcoin more than ever. And we have Bitcoin. We have the solutions to these problems. And it's just about telling people that Bitcoin is here, Bitcoin is, and the adoption will take care of itself. So put in the work, guys. Stop being bearish. We are so damn early. It is absolutely incredible. Bitcoin is winning, man. Anyways, jump in, Nico.
Bitcoin is winning, dude. Bro, shout out to Opti, the master of culture, going through all the signal on the Bitcoin Twitter, the battleground of the internet. That's where it's all happening. Dude, I think that graph by Bitcoin Times, where it shows the exponentiality of Bitcoin, is just, I don't think that's something that we fully appreciate, man. Like, we don't understand. I don't think we have the capability of understanding what truly 21 million divided by infinity represents, right? I don't think we understand that. I don't think it's comprehensible, easily comprehensible. But look at what it's done so far. To look at what it's done. Look at how it's performed over the last 10 years alone. Best performing asset, came out of nothing, went to basically, dude, went to 69,000. It didn't even exist like a decade ago or 13 years ago, man. Like, this is the power of absolute scarcity. No other shitcoin, and when I say shitcoin, I'm including central bank digital currencies, we will be able to replicate that, man. So it's really up to you, up to the individual. Like we always say, what money do you want to hold? Where do you want to store your time, your value, your energy? Where do you want to store it? Do you want to store it in something that could be debased, something that could have the rules changed by the foundation, by the government? Or do you want something that, bro, rules without rulers? 21 million, there will only ever be 21 million. And roughly every 4 years, there's a halving that cuts the block reward, and it decreases the sell pressure onto the market, right? So, man, this thing is literally designed to go up. As it goes up, NGU technology is the biggest converter. It's the strongest, most powerful orange pill, and that's what we're going to see over the next couple of years. And I suspect the next attack vector is going to be governments trying to suppress the price of Bitcoin. Look at what they did to the gold market. They did the same thing. Lawrence Lepard was talking about it yesterday, man. Governments will try to suppress and attack the price of Bitcoin because they know if this thing goes parabolic, less and less people are going to be on that slave fiat money. And that's definitely not what they want. Anyways, Paul, what are your thoughts on all this, bro?
I mean, this is the kind of stuff I like to focus on in bear markets, is the macro, how Bitcoin can impact the world, how this code was created that magically blends all these disciplines, human greed, macroeconomics, game theory, all together to have this diverse group of people work together for the betterment of, honestly, all humanity. So in bear markets, this is what I read about. This is what I think about. This is what I write about. This is what I educate my reluctant friends and family on. And this is what I feel like gets you through bear markets, because hodling bear markets is kind of boring. There's no like hit of a new all-time high, that dopamine hit to the brain. But I'm trying to use my time in this bear market to increase my understanding and my conception of what Bitcoin is and what it means for the world.
Amen. Amen. And I think that's what everybody should be doing right now. You should be learning fundamentals, the principles. Ask yourself, why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you holding Bitcoin? Why are you taking into self-custody? And if you're not the revolutionary type, which I suspect a lot of you guys aren't, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is buy Bitcoin, acquire Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin, earn Bitcoin, take that Bitcoin into self-custody, and you're going to be part of the revolution, whether you like it or not. And that moves the world to a much freer world. I'm going to use their words, a more equitable world. Anyways, and not the coercive equitability. Anyways, Opti, let's get to the meme review.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Bitbox 2 Bitcoin Only Edition, a hardware wallet by Shift Crypto. Crypto like cryptography. It's secure, it's open source, and it's so easy your mom can set it up. Self-custody is the revolution, and the Bitbox makes it simple. Do not leave your Bitcoin on an exchange. Order a Bitbox today. You know what, Nico? I really feel like you need to bring up the energy on your other ads, but that's neither here nor there. Guys, you already know this is the meme review, and we have our meme here that tweets are the bullets and memes are the artillery. This is how we spread out the signal. This is how we get the calls of actions of self-custody. This is how we educate people, because people don't like to look into things anymore. They don't like to read long things, but they will look at a picture and they will understand what is actually going on. Anyways, before I finish, make sure you drop your meme review score in the chat so we can read it. But let's get into the meme. So today, considering everything we've been seeing in the bond markets, in the Bank of England news, I thought that this tweet was very fitting. Shouts out to Poyo2X, and he goes, "What people think debt is." And we got one Chad, he goes, "You owe me $5. And we got another Chad who says, "I will repay you." And then right here we got, I don't even know, like a evil NPC over here. And he goes, "What debt actually is. So I sold your debt to some guy in China, and now it's being managed by a bunch of investment bankers. Also, a bunch of people are gambling millions on if you will pay it back or not." Wait, what? Yeah. Pretty much in a meme. All right, this next one, again, considering what's going on in the Bank of England, I thought this was very fitting. Another, picture paints 1,000 words type thing. So the Bank of England stepping into the market to buy long-dated government bonds to help restore order to the markets. Oh, poor little lobster. It's not just a frog in boiling water. It's a lobster getting fried. This is where we are in the story, guys. Oof. Big oof. And this next one, you guys already know, I'm a millennial. I grew up in the Dave Chappelle generation. This is why my comedy is sometimes a little over the top. But hey, blame Dave Chappelle, not me. So shouts out to @Morpheus BTC, and he goes, "Bitcoin fixes this." And I hope you guys know this when he goes, "Why hike interest rates?" And he goes, "Government." And the Dave Chappelle, "Why? Because fuck them." That's why. All right, this next one, shout out to my boy Rope. And he goes, "Just felt a tingling sensation in my bags. Bank of England pivots, psychopath with laser eyes and a smile." Oh my goodness. It do be feeling good out here. This next one is kind of a double meme. So shouts out to my buddy New Zealand Huddle, aka Kiwi. And he goes, "Is this a milkshake?" And I'm going to show you this chart right here, because look at this, man. The dollar is just wrecking every other currency. Milkshake theory playing out in real time.
The Fed is rug pulling the world right now, man.
Actually, and you can see it in the charts. It's absolutely amazing. And next, again, this one might be a little more controversial, but shout out to Crypto Graffiti and, the Nord Stream, whatever's going on over there. Who knows? It seems like we're on the brink of some big things right now, but, hear me out. We should plug some miners into all that.
I feel bad for laughing at that one.
I know. I'm sorry.
He does this all the time. He does this all the time.
All right, this last one, we dropped this meme this morning, and it was, I put, I wonder what Normie Land is talking about today, and, what it feels like being surrounded by normies. But I'm adding the addition by my buddy Copper Nixon, and he goes, "Normies talk about nihilism. Bitcoiners talk about hope. We built different. What it feels like being surrounded by normies. Bitcoin is hope. There's Elmo with laser eyes, and we're never going to be able to retire. I can't buy a house. I'm going to be pregnant one day, and I can't figure out why I have." I don't know if I can say that. I'll avoid it. You guys can read it for yourself. Anyways. Spicy memes over here. Okay.
Guys,
so
before Opti rates the meme, put your score in the live chat and we will get to it. Opti.
Okay, so my score today. I'm running out of things over here, but I got this gift from my friend. It's some ashwagandha to regulate your cortisol levels so you stay unstressed out here, boys and girls. Make sure your testosterone is high and your cortisol levels are low. This is how you succeed. Anyways, what's your guys' meme review scores?
Very, very, very wise. I'm going to give it this empty bottle of Fiji. Yeah. Paul?
I'm going to give it this horsehair brush that I use to preen my beard.
I need to get one of those.
You can't just roll out of bed and look this great. You gotta, put in some work.
Loving it. All right. Opti. Let's start pulling them up. I got the first one by Rave Elevator. I give the memes an extra 10% to the German inflation. You guys are savage. Lucky Redfish. I will print my meme score 100 trillion times. Very nice. Very nice. Very fitting. The John Flood, I'll give you Liz Trust tear strained handkerchief. BTC pins, those memes got a burrito. That's just sour cream. Man, that was a little jab, Opti. Mr. Robot, rate those memes a Bitcoin signing device. I like that. Hardware wallet, nah. Signing device, yeah. Ape Dude says I give it about 350. Okay. 350 what? Dollars?
Dude, you don't know the 350 meme, bro? Go watch South Park again.
No, Opti. All I'm doing is making Simply Bitcoin. I wish I had time for that.
Go watch 25 seasons of South Park.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man,
I'll send you the clip, bro.
Okay. I appreciate that. I give it Janet Yellen's hairpiece. That's not a hairpiece, bro. That's a creature. Rope rating those memes a watermelon skateboard. Very nice. Yellow, Yellow, I give the meme some watermelon. Okay, Yellow. Thank you, Yellow. I appreciate it. Michael Morrison, I give those memes a tickle because tickle me Elmo. I don't get it. I don't even want to know.
There was Elmo in the meme in our Simply meme.
Man. Bitcoin back up. I give those memes a potato. By the way, shout out to Greg, man. Hope you're okay, dude. Holy shit. Shout out to everybody that was affected by Hurricane Ian. Those floods did not look so good. So I hope you guys are all right. Rachel, I give those memes a royal pound coin. Very nice.
All right, last one.
Matt Free, I rate those memes cast iron pan. Oh man, that was yesterday's joke.
Go.
That was yesterday's joke, bro. It's already been decided. Iron pan for the win. Anyways, guys, definitely want to go check out Simply Bitcoin's Telegram group. You could join it by going to www.t.me/the Simply Bitcoin channel. It's absolutely free. If you want to know how to get your meme on the meme review score, that's what you do. You post it in that Telegram chat. It's like 600 of us. It's a good time. People are posting memes left and right. And check out the Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered. It is the written version of this show. Shout out to our writers, Zach, Paul, Rustin, Winekiss. Go to www.simplybitcoin.news. Subscribe. It's absolutely free. But anyways, Opti, there was an open source software release today. Let's check it out.
Bitcoin software release.
Brought to you by CipherSafe. Don't be that person that loses their Bitcoin seed due to fire damage, water damage, dog attacks. Back up your generational Bitcoin wealth on steel. And there's no better place to do it than the Cypher Grid by CipherSafe. And now check out their new Bitcoin art, the Bitcoin Rulux triangle, only on cyphersafe.io. Opti, usually I would have let you do this, but this one is a very special announcement. We got to do it. We got to do it right. Guys, this is a very big deal. Let's check it out. Taro building the taproot of the world's financial network with Bitcoin. That's right. On top of Bitcoin, not on top of the centralized shitcoins. Anyways, Michael Levin says, today we are excited to announce the alpha release of the Taro Daemon. People say Demian. I still don't know how to say that, but you know what I mean. Anyways, enabling developers to mint, send, and receive assets on the Bitcoin blockchain. In April, we first announced Taro, a Taproot powered protocol for issuing assets that could be transferred over Bitcoin and in the future. The Lightning Network, for instance, high volume, low fee transactions. We are grateful to the Bitcoin developer community for the valuable feedback and have incorporated it into the draft Bitcoin improvement proposals, which specify the protocol and the Taro Alpha Daemon implementation. And what does this mean, guys? That means that you could build on top of Bitcoin without having to go to shitcoins like Ethereum, but you still keep the benefits of an actually decentralized base layer. right? Which is why we always been making the case. We've been making this case for years, guys. Eventually, the good stuff from the shit coins will just be built on top of fucking Bitcoin, right? You want a strong decentralized base layer if you want to separate money from state. But shout out to the Taro guys for doing this, because now, dude, you could build on top of Bitcoin. Like, you can implement a stable coin on top of Bitcoin. Maybe I'm interpreting it right. I'm not so much of a technical guy, but based on what I've read, that's what it looks like they're doing. Anyways, guys, I also want to give a shout out to our awesome clothing sponsor, representltd.com. Opti, why don't you show the back of your hoodie? Let's check it out. The decentralized Represent Decentralized Corpse. I'm wearing the normal black one. Check it out. It's Fly Represent, has a represent. If you see me at the airport, I will be wearing these hoodies, not because they pay me, but because they're comfy as hell. You could take advantage of the promo code in the video description, the podcast description, to get 10% off. representltd.com. Also, Opti, why don't you tell everybody where they could find the audio version of this show?
All right, everyone. You already know we are on Anchor, we're on Spotify, and we are on Apple Podcasts. But if you think we are killing it over here and giving you guys value, we are on the Value for Value economy on Fountain, and you can stream us some sets. We appreciate all the support, guys. So thank you very much. I love you guys.
Thanks, Opti. All right, guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. If you really feel like we provided you value, consider subscribing. And the number one thing you could do always is share the show, share the video, get the message out there, become an activist. This isn't kinetic. This doesn't require much. This type of engagement war that we're fighting, this narrative trench warfare, is all about winning the hearts and minds of people. No violence required. Show them that there's a better alternative. And that alternative is, of course, Bitcoin. We love you guys. If you want to continue the party, go to Twitter Spaces. Opti's going to keep it going till 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We love you. Paul, thanks for joining us today. Where could people find out more about your social media?
So I'm Birds Are Not Real too on Twitter. I'm just a pleb, but I'm really happy to be here and be talking about Bitcoin and building.
Extra time. What do you mean birds are not real?
I am building.
So birds are government spy drones. They don't actually exist. They charge on telephone lines, and if they're near you, you should assume that you're being watched. I'm 100% serious about this, guys. It isn't a joke. Birds don't really exist.
Okay, I just want to say that is Paul's opinion alone. I'm still not convinced.
Amazing.
Maybe if we see more data. Dude, that's some crazy shit.
Just do your own research, man. Just do your own research on birds.
Don't trust, verify. That came from Paul. But anyways, I want to thank Paul for coming on. Guys, we love you, and we will see you tomorrow for another episode of Simply Bitcoin. For the record, I think birds are real.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best.